at makialam sa mga interesting issues ng ating bansa.
Well, makikinig kami dyan dahil kami ay nandito pa rin sa Eugenio Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts Senior High School.
Kaya naman, break time muna tayo mula sa mga lessons sa eskwelahan at ating pag-usapan ng mga issue ng bayan.
Lahat ng yan, dito lamang sa inyong coolest classroom tambayan.
Kaya siguraduhin wala nga absent dito lang sa Iskoolmates!
Isigaw ang tinig mo, ihayag sa buong mundo ang karapatan, kalayaan. Buksan ang isip mo, kaalaman ang yaman mo sa karapatan, sa kalayaan.
Welcome to Eugenio M. Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts Senior High School! In February 2015, inimbitahan ng DepEd Quezon City Division ang Magna Anima Education System Incorporated para sa planong pagpapatayo ng senior high school dito sa Quezon City. And so Magna Anima, along with their private sector partners, started, operated, and transferred the DepEd Quezon City Senior High School, the track, Arts and Design for Media Arts dito sa Quezon City High School.
Mayor Herbert Bautista, Superintendent Elizabeth Quesada, and Father Carmelo Caluwag signed the MOA for this partnership on August 19, 2015. Nag-umpisa ang classes noong June 6, 2016 with only 1 room and 31 students bilang unang section ng ELJ-SHS.
After the sponsored advertisements and the active social media campaigns, tumaas ang mga estudyante sa ELJ from 31 students to 166 students. This also paved the way to the creation of other sections.
In February 5 of 2018, by the Ordinance Number 2653, the local school board recommended that the senior high school at Barangay Sacred Heart, Quezon City be renamed as Eugenio M. Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts.
ELJ-SHS enjoys high status in academics and extracurricular activities which earn it to an outstanding reputation. Numerous trophies and awards validates its high-performance standards in the classroom.
Numerous clubs and organizations were also established in ELJ within 3 years. Clubs such as the School Student Council, the COMELEC, the Media Tones, the journalism clubs such as Haraya and Vanguard, the Eugenio Debate Society, Apollo, E-Crew, and many more.
Ang lahat ng students ng ELJ-CMA FHS ay encouraged to take advantage of all opportunities for them to participate, learn, and grow. Kaya naman, ang tanong ngayon, handa na ba kayo sa hamon ng ating debate?
Oo naman, Ate Tricia, hindi papatalo ang mga Euhenians.
Ready na kami para sa napakainit na diskusyon.
At ang lahat ng yan ay dito lang sa Iskoolmates!
Good evening guys! Nandito pa rin tayo kasama ang mga schoolmates natin sa Eugenio Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts Senior High School!
Tama ka dyan, Gab. At syempre, kitang-kita naman natin na ngayon, panibagong topic naman ang sisimulan natin. So, excited na nga ba kayo? Ayan! Yan ang gusto natin marinig.
Dahil excited na sila, ano nga ba ang pag-uusapan natin? Narito po.
Hi schoolmates, dapat nga bang ipagbawal ang media censorship? Pero ano nga ba muna ang censorship? This is an act of suppressing ideas, images, speech, public communication, or any information that is considered to be offensive, objectionable, harmful, or sensitive. Maari itong isagawa ng pamahalaan ng isang bansa in times of war upang maprotektahan ang anumang impormasyon na maaring magamit ng kalaban. Explicit censorship ang tawag dito. Maari din itong gawin ng ilang mga church organizations, private institution, and corporation. Pati na rin ang mga speakers, writers, artists, self-censorship naman ang tawag dito. Pero marami pa rin ang hindi sumang-ayon dito dahil paglabag raw ito sa freedom of speech and press dahil malilimitahan na ang mga bagay na maaring maiparating sa tao through different platforms of media. Kayo mga schoolmates, Pabor ba kayo sa pagbabawal ng media censorship?
Media censorship, dapat o hindi dapat? Ang media censorship ay isang act of monitoring or curating information, deeming if it would be fit to be publicized, to be televised, published, or broadcasted. Ngayon, it is done for a lot of reasons. Ang example nito ay to protect one's privacy, or di naman kaya ay to avoid access to information that can cause mass hysteria or jeopardize the national security.
Tama ka dyan, Tresha. Maaari nga daw nitong mapigilan ng pagkalat ng negative propaganda, pero may mga nagsasabi na ito daw ay paglabag sa freedom of speech or of the press. Kaya naman, Tresha, kasi mapipigilan nga naman yung nilalabas na content ng ating mga media. Kaya, Tresha, very interesting at very timely ang talakay natin ngayong gabi. Kaya sino-sino nga ba ang mga debaters na makakasama natin? Ang ating unang grupo ay naniniwalang dapat ang media censorship. Sila ay sina Sidhaya, Kenneth, and Moses.
We believe at the government side that media censorship is a necessary evil. The suppression of two of our inalienable rights, the right to information and the right to freedom of expression. Why do we believe that this is a necessary evil? We believe it's a necessary evil to suppress these rights so that we can uphold the rest of our rights. The rest of our rights, like the right to privacy, the right to rectification of wrong information, and the right to national security. Now, when we say that we're suppressing these two rights, we're not technically suppressing the rights in and of themselves. We're suppressing the abuse to these rights. The abuse to these rights, such as hate speeches on social media or bullying on social media. And to protect also our media practitioners all over the country. Now, a good example of this would be the Luneta hostage taking, which was perpetrated a few years back. And there was an example or a case in which the brother of the perpetrator was shown on TV that was arrested, and then it triggered the perpetrator. And in turn, more lives were unnecessarily lost. And that is why we believe that this is a necessary evil to suppress the abuse to these rights so that we can uphold the rest of our rights. Thank you.
At ang ating naman ikalawang grupo ay naniniwalang hindi dapat maipatupad ang media censorship. Sila ay sina Angeli, Mark, and Gino.
The opposition would like to answer 3 questions. Firstly, what is the role of media and why is free press so important? Secondly, why does media censorship exist in the first place? And thirdly, how does media censorship prove to be so detrimental to a society and its development, right? In the Philippines kasi, some media companies are already being pressured into closing down because of alleged issues like political biases. However, the opposition clearly puts forward and clearly appreciates the media's role as the fourth estate in advocating, entertaining, educating, and informing the masses. And this is why we think that we should put premium on free press, right? Media censorships kasi exist because we recognize that there is a need to regulate information. However, like when there are malicious information that may harm our vulnerable stakeholders like the children. However, the same policies that the government use to censor this are being abused. Like when they cater to the private interest than the public interest, right? Like when there's media blackouts or when they filter out criticisms against the administrations that needs to be informed, right? We want real progress, right? We want genuine progress. And we don't think that this progress should come at the expense of our fundamental rights, including the rights to information, the rights to expression, and the freedom of the press. And this is why we believe that media censorship is detrimental to our society, and this is why it's not dapat. Thank you.
Sobrang stimulated ng ating mga debaters patungkol sa ating topic. Siyempre, sila yung Center for Media Arts. Pero, reminder nyo lamang, hindi lamang ating mga debaters ang maaaring magpahayag ng kanilang opinion patungkol sa ating topic. Dahil siyempre, kasama ko pa rin ang ating mga schoolmates dito sa Eugenio Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts Senior High School! Ayan, gusto ko yung papalakpakan muna nila kasi mamaya sila din ay magbibigay na kanilang mga opinion patungkol sa ating topic. Pero di ko yung nakakalimutan, kayo dyan mga nasa likod ng screens nyo, kayo mga netizens, magpadala lang din po kayo ng inyong mga opinion dahil ilan po sa mga yan ay babasahin ko po mamaya. Sa ating pagbabalik, mas mainit na diskusyon dito lang sa Schoolmates!
Welcome back, Schoolmates! Kanina nga narinig na natin ang opening statements sa magkabilang grupo mula sa kanilang mga team leaders kung dapat nga ba o hindi dapat ang media censorship.
Tama ka dyan, Gab. At ngayon naman, it's time for us na marinig naman natin ano nga ba ang punto ng magkabilang grupo mula naman sa kanilang mga team members. Simulan natin kay Moses.
Okay, so before we continue, it is important to note that we are not trying to outright ban censorship. We are not trying to outright censor everything. We are trying to limit what can be abused here in the media so that it does not affect all of society. Now, other than that, there is another reason why censorship exists for the media. It is because, as is stated for the government, it is necessary for the government to have this provision in case that in states of calamity, it can control the flow of information so as to not further aggravate the public into panic. The last thing a government needs in order to be effective in any sort of crisis management situation is panic from the public. Now, apart from this, it is clear that while freedom of information and freedom of expression are both suspended in a sense, it is important to note here that these rights are suspended so that all of our other rights can be maintained. Is it more important for you to live in a world where you have the knowledge to know everything that there is to know about the world but not live in peace? Or is it more important for you to live in a world where you can live in peace, where you can live securely, and where you can live stably? That being said, we are proud to present this case.
Yun. Tresha, nagustuhan ko doon sa sinabi ni Moses yung konsepto ng sensationalism. The end goal of this censorship is not really to omit the vital information that we need. Pero what we need to do is to streamline the information that the public need to know. So, agree ka ba doon? Kenneth, anong masasabi mo sa nasabi ni Moses?
The media has been an integral part of the democratic system, right? So, like, firstly, the media is responsible for inciting checks and balances for the people in the government. It informs the masses of relevant events in the government. It bridges the information gap between the masses and the state. Secondly, is that it protects the fundamental aspect of democracy, in which are like the freedom of expression and freedom of information. And if we prevent the streamline or the free flow of these free market of ideas, free market of information, what would happen is that it will just lead to a full deterioration of the democracy, of our democracy, which leads me into my second point that media censorship is a very powerful tool for tyrannical regimes. We have all seen this. The Philippines already have been past this, and let history speak for itself. The success of media censorship will just further lead to vast corruption. Secondly, suppression of information. And third, oppression.
Thank you. Napakaganda ng mga sinabi niya. Very opposing yung ideas nilang dalawa. At I think nasagot niya talaga yung sinasabi niya na it's an extremist solution and it can lead to full deterioration of democracy. And just like in history na nangyari yung ganitong klase ng media censorship, maaaring maulit-ulit ito. Pero ano ba ang masasabi mo dito, Kenneth?
So firstly, I would like to clarify that we are not trying to suppress the rights of every individual, but rather we are trying to suppress the abuse that is currently happening. So next thing that I will also like to clarify is that we're not going to have an absolute ban, meaning that we're going to, rather an absolute censorship, but rather we're going to have a partial censorship on the things that will come out on television and also social media. So firstly that I would like to go on is like sensationalism. So basically sensationalism is putting people on a pedestal, putting situations in a pedestal, and putting them eyes more open to the opinion of the public. And how is this problematic? So this is problematic because firstly, for one good example for this is that the Luneta hostage crisis, wherein a man was able to actually understand what's happening around his situation while he was inside the bus because he was watching news. And different and different types of people actually tried to approach with and negotiate with a guy, which actually tried escalating the problem and made the problem much worse. And what's worse is that he was able to see what was actually happening on television to his brother, which could have avoided the unnecessary lives cost during that event. And assuming that we remove the bridge that actually connects the information to the people, that scenario would have been much better. And with all those reasons, I am proud to stand with the government.
Tresha, sabi ni Kenneth doon sa kanyang unang sinabi, hindi naman nila sinosuppress ang karapatang pantao ng bawat Pilipino. Ang sinosuppress nila ay ang pang-aabuso. At nagbigay nga siya ng example doon, yung sa Luneta hostage taking. Ang sinasabi doon ni Kenneth ay nababawasan ng efficiency ng ating gobyerno kapag hindi natin na-censor o na-regulate ng maayos ang ating media. So anong masasabi mo doon, Gino?
First of all, I would like to say that the government is saying that, keeps on saying that they are trying to limit the abuse of the censorship that's happening within our media, right? But I'm actually confused because they are not really presenting the process or mechanism on how to limit the abuse that's happening in the censorship. First of all, it's very good that we consider the sensationalism that they want to propose. But there's actually more pressing issues that we have to look for. For example, so we have to consider the other things. So let's say that there's a calamity that they want to avoid causing panic, but isn't it the right of the people to know what's happening inside the country or inside or around them, actually? And so, with this, I would like to add on my few statements. First, media censorship is violating the human rights, which is the freedom of expression and the freedom of speech. And they kept saying on their side that at the expense of these two human rights, we could uphold the other human rights. What if there's political laws that actually aggressive to the people and the media is kept censoring it? So this has been problematic on their side because they're not saying what specific news should they really censor. And this is why we are proud to oppose.
Yes. Actually, magaganda yung mga nailatag nilang ideas. Nakita natin kung ano yung effect ng sensationalism. And on their point, nakikita naman natin na it is the right for the people to know what they have to know. Not necessarily what they only need to know, but necessarily what knowledge is there for them to know. And so, I think unang parte pa lamang yan ng ating talakayan dahil bukod sa ating mga schoolmates na nasa debate, makikita naman natin ngayon ano nga ba ang nais sabihin ng ating mga netizens na ihahatid natin mula sa ating schoolmate na si Sky!
Ito na nga, ihahatid ko na sa inyo. Pero, before ko ihatid yan, gusto lang sabihin, sana mamaya magkaroon tayo ng mga concrete examples, yung tangible examples sa mga nangyayari sa ating media. Pero before tayo pumunta dyan, babasahin ko ngayon yung mga ipinadalang komento ng ating mga netizens dahil sila rin ay merong opinion. Ito ang sinabi ni Lizette Gihal. Hindi dapat ipagbawal ang media censorship dahil mahalaga na malaman ng bawat isa ang buong detalye at katotohanan sa isang issue o pangyayari. Ayan, sa ating mga netizens, patuloy lamang po kayo magpadala ng inyong opinion dahil mamaya po, importante yan, babasahin ko pa po. Pero, magbigay pa kayo ng inyong opinion dahil meron tayong pagbobotohan po sa ating social media accounts kung saan kayo papanig sa ating topic for tonight.
Bukod dyan, schoolmates, mamaya pipili rin tayo ng best speaker na pipilian ng ating mga schoolmate staff at ng ating mga schoolmates dito sa Eugenio Lopez Jr. School for Media Arts Senior High School.
Yes, at syempre, ang ating criteria for judging ay inyong makikita sa inyong mga screens ngayon. At sa aming pagbabalik ay magpapatuloy pa ang mainitang diskusyon dito lang sa Schoolmates!
Welcome back, schoolmates! Nandito na tayo sa ating free flow discussion kung saan magbibigay lang kami ni Tresha ng ilang katanungan at bibigyan namin kayo ng kalayaan na magsagutan.
Yes, and syempre just like any other episode, pinaalalahanan natin both ang ating schoolmates na viewers and audience
na ang goal ng programang ito ay hindi para idikta kung ano ang tama or mali. So, ang gusto lang natin ay marinig kung ano ba yung boses ng mga kabataan regarding sa different social issues. So,
Tama ka dyan, Tresha. Maraming salamat. Ito na ang ating unang tanong. Sakaling magkaroon ng media censorship, magiging limitado nga ba ang mga impormasyong makakarating sa masa at maaari bang maging less aware sila sa totoong nangyayari sa ating lipunan o komunidad?
Yes, this is possible, and there have been a lot of cases about it, right? Like, there are media blackouts that's happening. Like, for example, there's some really controversial case like the war on drugs and stuff like that, and it involves people that have names like celebrities or government officials, and because of the media blackout, we're kept from knowing the truth about it, and we think that this is harmful, right? And this is why we don't want media censorship.
Yes, I believe that this is dependent on who is going to authorize this media censorship. It's still subjective and is dependent on the hands of the authority figures and how they will legitimize this media censorship. Now, I believe that, yes, there have been examples in our history about the abuse of media censorship. But what we're trying to push with our side is the less invasive media censorship. We're trying to suppress the abuse instead of the right itself. So there's nothing to worry about. Sure, the public can see that we're suppressing their rights to talk about what they want to or to talk about someone they want to on Facebook or on social media. But that's not the point. The point is we're trying to filter so as to hurt less people unnecessarily.
para mas marami pa tayong mapag-usapan, punta tayo sa second question. Kung tuluyang ipagbabawal ang media censorship, maproprotektahan nga ba nito ang mga bata mula sa mga sexual and extremely violent materials na maaari nilang ma-access anytime?
Yes, we believe so because the media's information and whatever it shows on its platforms can directly be affected by censorship. And and most of the time, such adult catering content can make it through the media. And with censorship, we can actually protect these children from such explicit content, such as violence, such as sexual harassment, such as so many other things like drugs, for example. We can protect these children from these things if we have the right to censor these of these content, so that we don't have to let the children know too early what these things are, so that they will know at a mature age what these things are. That there is no need to compromise childhood, and that and that we can preserve the innocence of childhood for as long as we can.
We think that this is counterintuitive. Why? Because like this kinds of information, for example, using drugs or smoking or even pornography, like even though we censor it in media, there's other ways for children to get it. Like when they see it from other people in the real world, right? So that's counterintuitive. That doesn't really negate the harms of it. In fact, it only makes it worse, right? Also, it only propagates the dark web. If they can't access it on the surface web, it is only further propagated and it's also worsened in the dark web.
Well, I believe that this is already happening in our society with the MTRCB regulatory board. It's not an absolute censorship of these materials. It's supposed to be a limited censorship so that we can explain to the children what these facts or what these informations are. Now, what we're trying to pose here for the government side is that it's not going to be an absolute censorship na if there's sex on TV, we're not going to show it at all because children shouldn't see that. Or if there's violence on TV, smoking on TV, we shouldn't show them that because it's bad for them. But still, they'll pick it up, they'll see it somewhere else, right? We're trying to let the people understand with these regulatory boards that yes, these are sensitive information, sensitive topics that we need to guide our children with, right? That's why the MTRCB exists, and that is why we are still proud to propose this.
I think there is a clear difference. There's a fine line between regulation and censorship. What you are talking about is MTRCB, right? And yeah, it's not part of media censorship at all. It's just a proper decorum of journalistic jobs, right? And also, you're missing our point here on our bench. What we are talking about here is political media censorship. Why we don't want political media censorship in the first place.
And yet, the thing is, regulation is limited censorship in a sense, is it not? Because we are actually relegating such restrictions. For example, on films, for example, we have ratings for restricted for 13-year-olds, restricted for 16-year-olds, restricted for 18-year-olds, because we don't want anyone younger who might not have the mental maturity in order to understand these themes to be able to experience these things in the sense
Sir, you
that...
clearly don't understand that there's a difference between censorship and ethics, right? Kasi in media ethics, we're talking about like the journalistic principles, what the media needs to show or not to show based on ethics, right? Based on the moral code and duty of journalism. However, yung censorship kasi, it's filtering out information just because you don't want it to be seen. Doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, it's wrong and it's like naglalabag ng mga batas.
Another point I would like to add here is that, yes, let's take it that they're saying that it's limited censorship, but still people or the children are still exposed to sensitive issues. So for example, a child, even though he's been deprived of all that sensitive issues that is at hand, we should still consider that we could have another alternative. Instead of having censorship, let's try educating the children the right way. Because there will always come a time, they will see these sensitive issues, war, drugs, pornography or something. Let's try focusing on the education, because when they see it, they will know what's the problem, and that they will be disciplined enough that when they see these sensitive they see the sensitive views, they will quickly turn their back on it because they know what's right.
Okay guys, so nabanggit nga kanina ni Angeli yung paglabag ng batas. So dagdagan natin ang katanungan. Mayroon nga bang pag-violate sa freedom of speech and press ang pagkakaroon ng media censorship?
And also to add na lang din, no, para mas maglinaw tayo, ano ba ang difference ng media censorship sa media ethics para din malaman natin dahil may mga nabanggit tayong terminologies para sa kaalaman ng ating mga schoolmates, okay?
Yes, there is a violation against the freedom of these people when we talk about media censorship, because essentially, it's not always the call of a certain reporter if he or she or they want to cover this certain information or news, right? Sometimes it's also the call of their certain company or certain department, right? And this is when their freedom of expression is violated, right? There are things kasi na okay lang naman ipalabas, pero just because it's against like some sort of private interest, it's not being covered.
Now, we believe that it still depends on the authority as to how it will be legalized and implemented. And that's why we're trying to push for a limited censorship and regulation only, not an absolute censorship or that actually suppresses the rights and limits as to what people will say, because that's against press ethics, right? Now, what we're trying to say is we're trying to limit it with the terms of with the journalists, to protect the rights of the journalist as well, because if they say too much per se,
Sir?
it adds a...
Sir, what exactly do you want to suppress in the media censorship?
The abuse.
The abuse.
The abuse to these rights.
So you would compromise freedom of expression and information and freedom of speech.
That's what it would seem like. It would seem like we're compromising these rights, but we're not.
But it seems like you're taking the freedom of information, freedom of expression and information is like a subjective point of view. It is an objective fundamental right.
But so is our right to privacy. So is our right to rectifying wrong information. So is our right to security.
At
Those
the
are
end of the
fundamental
day kasi,
rights.
we should
Still.
have the choice on whether we want to access this kind of information, on whether we want to believe this kind of information. And that's what you're already negating in the first place, right? People are smart enough, we're conscious enough to know what is right from wrong, and we should be able to recognize that.
Because in our bench, we believe like the partial censorship isn't really like removing these certain parts from it. We're only giving them a glimpse of it, for they can have an idea of what's the world that awaits them further. So with this idea that they have of what awaits them even further, they can be even better educated. So at the end of the day is always better at our side since we are able to give them a glimpse of what the future awaits, of what they are going to have, and be able to give the proper recommendations or necessary actions to the proper authorities.
Okay, wait lang. Sige. Mas bigyan linaw natin kung ano yung sinasabi natin. We are talking about partial censorship. You are proposing an entirely different method. So let's talk about a grounded example. Can you give us an example of a specific incident in the media that for example, you think there is a need for partial censorship, and in your case, defend what other methods should be done in this kind of grounded example? Because I think it's all up in the air, yung partial censorship. What does that mean? Okay.
All right. Now, as we've already stated twice a while ago, the Luneta hostage crisis incident is one prime example of why limited censorship should be taken, especially by the media when they are presenting events as they happen.
Sir, again, there's a fine line between media ethics and media censorship. That's not at all a case of media censorship. That's a case of irresponsible journalism. That's a case of a non-decorum on journalistic jobs.
And yet, the thing is, with this media censorship that we're trying to push here, this limited media censorship, it eliminates the whole risk of letting these other people know in certain hostage crises, for example. Like these, for example, in terrorists, in other sorts of hostage crisis situations where the hostage takers have access to the media, they will not have the information necessary to predict what law enforcement will do in the event that law enforcement does take forceful action in order to end this crisis, to end this standoff. This is exactly why limited media censorship should have been a must during the Luneta crisis and should be a must for following counter-terror operations and for following other law enforcement operations where criminals might have access to the media.
It's not censorship at all.
Okay, guys, ito, huling katanungan para sa ating mga debaters. Kung ipagbabawal natin ang media censorship, anong ibang paraan ang pwede para maprotektahan ang mga manonood sa mga harmful materials and content?
One thing is proper education, and the second thing is responsible journalism. Kasi there's, in education kasi, di ba, we're talking about how there are really harmful information that even with media censorship, we can't really guarantee from keeping children or other vulnerable stakeholders off. Pero with proper education, as my partner said a while ago, then children would know that it's not right. That even though they don't see it on media, or even if they see it on media, they wouldn't have to know about this, right? Pero yung sa responsible journalism, this is clearly what the government is clearly missing out, right? Sa responsible journalism kasi, it's knowing the fine line between what you need to what they need to post or publicize, what they need to cover, and what they need and what doesn't need to be censored, right?
Now, there is one slight problem with your proposal for proper education. The media is built to inform and convince people of what to think, of what to perceive. Now, the problem herein lies that the public trusts the media to inform it of what is right, what is wrong, what is happening. Now, without censorship of other information such as false information, for example, or compromising information, then the problem here lies that there are other rights that are being jeopardized other than the right of expression and the right to information. Is it not?
Sir, we admit the flaws of journalism here in the Philippine context, for example. That's why we are trying our best, especially our journalists here in the Philippines. They are trying their best to be as responsible journalists as they are, as ethical as they are.
Okay, napakaraming magagandang puntong narinig natin sa ating mga debaters. Palakpakan natin sila. Dahil ngayon naman, or later, mamaya, ay malalaman naman natin ano naman ang katanungan mula naman sa ating mga audiences na ating malalaman sa pagbabalik yan ng Iskoolmates!
Welcome back to Schoolmates. Ang init na naging free flow discussion, pero meron kami dito, mga kakwentuhan ko kanina na schoolmates dito, meron kaming gustong hingin ng mga details na important sa media censorship. So mga examples na nangyari sa history, why we need media censorship, or bakit hindi natin siya kailangan. So kailangan namin ng mga nitty-gritty examples. So ito, tutulungan tayo nila Cheska at saka ni Ann. Meron sila mga katanungan sa ating mga debaters. Go, Cheska.
We know that social media is accessed by everyone else and it's free for everyone. So now that we know that you guys are proposing social media, some media restrictions or not allowing these media censorship, will social media be covered, and what's the assurance that it should be covered?
Yes, social media is a part of the censorship. And particularly, it's going to be a major part of the limited censorship that we're trying to propose, right? And why is that? Because social media is a major player and is a major information, source of information for so many people. And not just that, it's not just a source of information. It's also a collective source for people to put down what they're thinking, what they're doing, how they feel about certain people. And that's why we'll go back into hate speeches and the occurrences of bullying and bashing on social media. And that is why we believe that a limited censorship is required for this. So what we mean...
But given that this is a global platform, how will this align with international standards?
For the matter of international standards, we can work hand in hand, our local government can work hand in hand with those media companies such as Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, so that we can properly safeguard our people so as to not receive hate speech or bullying. So we're just trying to lessen the occurrences, right? We're trying to lessen the occurrences of bullying that somehow a lot of us has already faced.
Social media kasi, especially in politics, plays a vital role, especially in times like election, di ba? What we see on social media may reflect on what we decide on or what decisions we might take, right? And we think that the best way to filter out or to censor harmful media, especially in the political sense, in the political context, is when we censor or disallow trolls from the social media, right? And this may be hard, but this can come in forms like verifying on like more stricter measures sa pag-verify kung totoong tao yung gumagamit ng social media, right?
Alright, maraming salamat, Cheska. Ngayon naman, pakinggan natin ano bang tanong ni Ann.
Ayan, so based on your claim, opposition, you don't want to have a media censorship, right? So how do you plan to strengthen media regulation so as not to resort to media censorship?
Like, as what I'm saying kanina, is that what we want is no political media censorship. So we don't want the politicians' interest to intervene with the global free market of ideas, for example. That's what we do not want. So, as dun sa question mo, on how to have like robust and free market of information, is I think ang way lang dito is to have a responsible journalism, strengthen our journalism institutions, and not suppress our journalistic institutions right now. For example, like and it's clearly happening in the Philippines that the government is clearly suppressing a lot of media institutions, for example.
Maraming salamat sa ating mga debaters at syempre sa ating mga nagtanong. Sa ating pagbabalik, closing argument sa magkabilang grupo, dito lamang sa Schoolmates!
Welcome back, Schoolmates! Naging maganda ang talakayan natin ngayong gabi. Kaya naman, congratulations sa ating mga debaters. Congrats, guys. Palakpakan naman natin sila.
I think kanina nabanggit na nila yung mga main points nila. Pero I think now is the time para marinig naman natin ang kanilang mga huling argumento. Kaya naman, simulan natin kay Moses.
As we've discussed in this debate, the point of censorship is to be able to maintain the rights that are being violated by uncensored content, by uncensored information. We are trying to uphold these rights, and while it does seem that the freedom of expression and the freedom of information are being compromised. They are actually not, since when you have the protection of these other rights, you can also freely express what you want in a way that that doesn't hurt anyone else, that doesn't affect anyone else negatively. And going on with this, there's more on. There's also the fact that it also helps the government be more efficient in times of calamities, such as during disasters, typhoons, or in the cases of war or such, or even during counterterrorism operations, for example. And having said that, while some may say that this is an evil, it is a necessary evil. That's what we claim. Considering that, then let it be considered a necessary evil, because at that point, choose whether you would want a world that is safe or a world where where unrestricted information can cause harm for everyone in society.
Maraming salamat, Moses. Ikaw naman, Angeli.
Two main stakeholders of this debate, the people and the state. At the end of the day, diba, we want progress in our society. And we think that we can only make this if we get the best interests of both stakeholders. And we think that this is only possible if there's no media censorship. We want our people to trust on our government. We also want our government to be responsible for our people. And I think at the end of the day, this will only be possible if we never have media censorship, especially in a political context. Thank you.
Ngayon naman, magbibigay ang ating mga audience members. Siyempre, representative ng isa, si Ate Liza. Sovereignty. Siya naman magbibigay na kanyang reflection sa nangyari nating debate. Ate Liza, ano ang naintindihan mo sa nangyari nating debate?
Okay. So ayun, since us Euhenians, syempre yung malaking population natin dito is probably magtatrabaho sa field ng media. And I think this is a concern for all of us in general. And it's nice for us to be enlightened and to discuss this certain issue. And maganda rin na na-highlight kanina yung difference between media ethics and media censorship. And of course, kanina pinag-uusapan, di ba, nung dalawang side, yung iba't ibang rights ng tao, like the right to information, right to privacy. But I think what is really important is for us to know the power of us as a Filipino people. And regardless of this, I think what is important is for us to be a responsible citizen or netizen, regardless and no matter what side are we in.
Siyempre, schoolmates, hindi magiging maganda ang ating naging debate for tonight kung hindi dahil sa ating mga magagaling na debaters. So once again, palakpakan ninyo ang inyong mga sarili. It was a job well done.
Yung palakpakan mo yung sarili mo, ganyan.
Yes, ganyan ka.
Pero meron tayong mas papalakpakan. Kanina pa yun eh. Papalakpakan dahil meron tayong napiling best speaker. Sa tingin nyo, sino yun?
Iba-iba yung sinasabi, no? I think, ang dami kong favorite na
Si ano, ako gusto ko lang yung pangalan ni Sidhaya. Diba? Sidhaya.
Yes, bro.
Oy, pangalan lang.
Grabe.
Merong special mention pero gusto ko rin si Angeli. Kasi galing siya sa Sky.
Ayan na. Okay, Sky, ito na. Dahil sa kanyang pinakitang husay at galing sa pakikipagdebate at mga rebatas na talaga namang nagpabilib sa atin, ang ating best speaker ay si...
With 96.5%.
Walang iba kundi si Angeli Rodenas.
Sabi ko sa inyo, congratulations, Angeli. Pumunta ka dito.
Ano yung sabi mo kanina, Sky? Kaya siya
Manok ko to kasi Angeli siya. Galing siyang Sky.
Wow!
Yeah. Congratulations, Angeli.
Congrats, Angeli.
Congratulations. Ayan.
Ayan, pero syempre, congratulations sa ating lahat ng mga debaters kasi pare-pares kayong magagaling.
Yes, that's right. At syempre, Sky Tresha, bago tayo magtapos, magbibigay lang tayo ng konting nakuha natin sa nangyaring talakayan ngayong gabi.
Okay, ano ba yun, Gab?
Okay, so,
ikaw na yan.
Sky Tresh, isa sa pinaka-importanting aspeto ng democracy sa ating bansa ay ang freedom of speech, of expression, and of the press, di ba? Ang free circulation of information. Yung mga platforms ng media katulad ng newspapers, ng radyo, ng social media, ng TV, ito ay mga nagbibigay ng importanteng role sa ating society in ensuring that key information reaches the public. Ngayon ang tanong, dapat o hindi ba dapat ang media censorship sa konteksto ng Pilipinas? Para sa akin, there's no one-size-fits-it-all answer to this. Kasi may iba't ibang media platforms na may iba't ibang operation at commitment na nagkikater sa iba't ibang end users. Pero for me din, it should be considered as long as it is reasonable and it does not suppress the Constitution. Katulad nga ng freedom of speech, of the press, and of expression. Okay? So, para sa akin, as long as it is reasonable, pwede nating i-consider ang method ng media censorship, lalo na sa konteksto ngayon ng Pilipinas.
Ako, I'll just add, Gaba, kasi ako, no to media suppression. Not at all. Kasi ito ay karapatan nating malaman ang nangyayari. We should just trust that our media practitioners ay nakaangkla pa rin ang kanilang ginagawa sa pinag-aralan nila. Nandiyan ang Philippine Press Institute Code of Ethics. Yan ang mga regulation na fina-follow nila. So we put our trust in them that anchored pa rin ang kanilang pagbabalita para sa kaalaman ng mga tao at hindi lamang dahil meron silang pinagsisilbihing interes. So yun yung kailangan maging klaro para sa lahat ng mga future media practitioners that it is important in our society to it is our right to information and to know what's happening in our society. So yun lang.
And siguro, para lang ibang perspective lang coming from a non-media practitioner, we always have to go back doon sa ano nga ba ang mandate ng isang media or parte ng media. It's to bring the information to the public. In whether it is a bad angle or a good angle, the public needs to know. And so media censorship is good, and yes, it has to be reasonable, and at the same time, we also have to be mindful of our constituents, the children, the end users, and whoever needs to hear this information. Siguro, that's a point to ponder lang, di ba?
That's true.
Yes.
And isa pang maganda, Trisha, yung mga bosses nila kasi well-mentioned.
Yes.
And we have to give those to the students of Eugenio Lopez Jr. Center for Media Arts.
Yes.
Palakpakan po natin.
Maraming salamat, guys.
Palakpakan natin ang mga students, teachers, faculty members.
Sa inyong mainit na
Opo,
pagtanggap.
maraming salamat po sa ulo ng mga nagbabagang balita.
At syempre sa mga netizens naman natin sa bahay, maaari rin kayong bumoto kung saang topic kayo papanig ngayong gabi. Tumungo lamang sa ating social media sites at Iskoolmates.
Yes, and with that, sa bawat usapin sa bawat issue, may boses ang kabataan.
Sumali, makinig at makisa dahil opinion nyo ay mahalaga.
Sabay-sabay natin isigaw sa buong mundo.
Schoolmates!
May pakialam ka!
Isigaw ang